far from advocating for Caesarism, Hamilton throughout his life warned of the danger of an authoritarian demagogue like Caesar who might flatter the people and overthrow popular elections. And he wrote in Federalist One, of those men who've overturned the liberties of republic, the greatest number have begun their career by paying an obsequious court to the people, commencing demagogues and ending tyrants. And then he goes on to say, if Shays' rebellion had been headed by a Caesar or a Cromwell, who can predict what effect such a despotism would have on the liberties of the other states. So talk about how Hamilton feared a Caesar who would flatter the people and install himself as an authoritarian, and ultimately came to conclude that if we have an embryo Caesar in the United States, 'tis Burr.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, Jeff, because I think it does open up an angle into Hamilton's political philosophy that is not always appreciated. You're absolutely right. He feared Caesarism in a way just as much as any good Jeffersonian, but he saw the threat coming from a different angle, if you will. And the threat that Hamilton envisioned was, as you mentioned, a demagogue, somebody playing on the fears of the public, somebody flattering the public in order to rise to power and then turning on the people. Hamilton's study of history led him to believe that that was the more likely path to authoritarianism in the United States or in any republic. And so from Hamilton's perspective, what you needed was a national government that could defend attacks from abroad, but also suppress insurrections here at home that might be led by a demagogue who had dreams of establishing some type of authoritarian government. That is, Jeff, by the way, you see Hamilton urging a fairly arguably ruthless suppression of the Whiskey Rebellion, because Hamilton believed in ordered liberty. He believed that the rule of law was the key to preserving the republic, and any time an armed minority felt they had some grievance against the political order and they could take up arms, that's where the threat really presented itself. So for Hamilton, a strong government protected against foreign attacks and enforced the rule of law here at home and could put down rebellions of the kind that you saw during the Shays' Rebellion or the Whiskey Rebellion.
That's such a powerful way to put it. Both Hamilton and Jefferson feared a Caesar, but Hamilton feared a demagogue who would flatter the people from below, and Jefferson feared a Caesar who would come and suppress them from above. Talk about their very different responses to insurrection, in particular to Shays' Rebellion and the Whiskey Rebellion. Hamilton, as you said, wanted to literally ride in on horseback with George Washington, which he did, in order to awe the people into submission. Jefferson favors pardoning the rebels and says a little insurrection every now and then is a good thing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And of course, Jefferson viewed the whole contretemps surrounding the Whiskey Rebellion as much ado about nothing. In fact, Jefferson referred to the Whiskey Rebellion as Hamilton's Rebellion. In other words, this was a trumped-up effort by Hamilton and the Federalists to suppress a democratic movement consisting of whiskey distillers who felt oppressed by the central government. Two completely different takes on that rebellion and on the Shays' Rebellion. Jefferson had a certain comfort level with the idea of rebellion. In fact, he was quoted as saying a little rebellion now and then is a healthy thing. For Hamilton, that kind of thinking, that kind of talk was very irresponsible. Again, Hamilton believed in the rule of law. Yes, the law needed to change, but not through violence, not at the point of a gun.